everyone, it's Angela again. I'm here today to share another tutorial with you. So grab your cuppa or grab your goodies and let's do this together. Today I am using some inspiration that I got from Wendy Journals Adventures. I love Wendy's channels. I'll put the link in the description box below and you can go and see some of the gorgeous things that Wendy does on her channel. Now what I've done, and I've made these quite a few months ago and I love using these in my journals. I thought I'd share with you my take on what Wendy does with these. So be sure to go and have a look at her take on this. This is going to be my take. Now what it is we've got these two pockets which you make from envelopes. They're connected in the middle here with some fabric, and each pocket has a little journal card that you put together, and then they can turn right around. So depending if you're wanting blue or pink or whatever you want to do, you've got this which can slide then, so for example on a page like that. So that's what we're going to make today. So you can see both sides decorated. This side I have a bit of a place to journal, and on that side I have a blue side. That side I've got a pink side, and vice versa there. So let's go and try this and make this. Let's do that. So I'll put that aside at the top there, and what you'll need to do is use up some envelopes. So I'm using a craft color envelope for this purpose today. These are, let's see, these are about 4.5 inches or 11.5 centimeters, I think, that way, and then this way these are 16 centimeters or 6.5 inches, more or less. So that's what I've got here, but you can use whichever envelopes you have. It all just depends on what you have. So without further ado, I'm going to put one aside for a minute. Now the side with the seal on, we're going to seal those off first of all. So I'm just going to take some glue stick. In fact, you can just use water really, but I'm just going to seal that off. Stick to that side. You don't want to stick it down on that side. So just wet that side, because otherwise you're going to have a problem with sealing it onto the base of your pocket there. So let's just do that quickly. I'll grab my bone folder. Right, so we've got that sealed, and we'll do that with two. So we're going to need two of these. So do the same again here. I suppose you could lick the pockets, but I'm not going to do that on YouTube. Alright, so we've sealed our envelopes. Now what we need to do is you can just take a pair of scissors, or you can take I'll take my craft knife. Not going to cut on that side, we're going to cut on that side. So we're going to cut it to the width that we want. And again, this is optional, but for me, I'm going to just use this as a guide because I like this length. Grab my pencil. And this is pretty much that wide, so let's put that back over there, and I'll tell you how wide that is. I am going to be using, it's 8 centimeters or 2 3/4 inches, so that's where I'm going to cut this off. So I'm just lining it up. You can use your trimming board, or you can use your scissors or whatever you have. Scissors would be fine, but for me, I like to use my craft knife. I've got a whole bunch of these I got at the hardware store. And I'm just going to cut that off. So now we have an envelope like this, which hopefully it hasn't glued in the middle there from whatever. So that's what we have. Now hang on to this, we're going to use this. Just put that aside. So do the same with the other. Make sure you're not going to cut off on that sealed side. So line them up like that. Oops. And then just to make sure they are the same width, we are just going to cut the other one like that. And again, we're going to hang on to that. Right, so now we've got our 2 envelopes and our pockets just about ready. We just need to decorate those. So let's do that. Now what you need to do is we want to put some kind of paper on the top of these. I'm going to use some scraps from my scrap pile. I've got 2 pieces of paper here from Antique Paperie. Gosh, that feels quite thick, but it is 1 piece. I'll put the actual name. I think these are called Romance, but I'm not 100% sure, but I will look that up for you and let you know which kit that comes from, which digital. So these are what I'm going to use, and now all you need to do really is, let's start with the pink, is to cut out a piece. I'm going quite close to the end, so I just have a very thin line, probably about 1 or 2 millimeters sticking out there, and just making a little marks here so I can cut this out. So let's just do that quickly. I'm not going to waste your time with doing all of this for every single piece. I'm just showing you one, and then I'll go with the pieces that I have used. So straight across there. And I like these pages because they're quite muted in their colors, but of course you can do whatever suits you. Because I'm going to put some collaging or some layers on top of this, I don't want a very bold under sort of color, a base color. So let's just see, that is pretty good there. Yep, that's what I want there. So there's one of those. So we want to have, you want to cut 4 of these base pieces to cover each side of the envelope. All right, so I'll put these aside. And what I've done is I have cut some others. So what we're going to do here is, I've got a blue piece that I've cut already here, like that, and we're going to ink those and stick those down. So let me just grab the ink and the dauber. I've got a new ink pad which I'm scared of because, you know, you never remember. You don't seem to remember how dark the colors are when they're new. I don't, and then I suddenly have a very dark shade. All right, so we're back, and now what I want you to do is just make sure you're sticking them. We want the open side on the same side here, so don't want the writing. If you've got writing or a print that's not, or one, you know, going in one direction, make sure you've got those going the correct way. So you want both these open sides on the same side so that you position them correctly. All right, so let's glue those down. I'm going to use my glue stick. I'm just going to stick those down. If you're not going to stitch these, then please use a strong glue. You don't have to stitch these at all. It's purely personal choice. But I will probably end up stitching these. All right, so we've got that glued down there. And then we want to glue this. Okay, so we've got those there, and we want to we're going to decorate those, but let's just turn them over now and do the same to the back. So you're going to put another 2. So I've got a blue one on here, I want a pink one on there, so I am just going to grab a pink one, and that one will go there, and then I have a pink one there, so I want a blue one on there. So I'll do that and put that one on there. So that's how I'm doing it. So let me go back to the inking again. Right, I hope you all are well, and everybody's, you know, being able to do some lovely things over the end of February. Weather's still dismal, and I've just realized I've got to work an extra day at work. So not the crafting kind of work, because it's a leap year. And funny, I have a niece that was born in a leap year. She was born 5 minutes to midnight in 1992, so it was a leap year. And I really thought I was going to have my, she's my goddaughter, and I really thought I was going to have a leap year niece. Luckily, my sister managed to give birth to her 5 minutes before, so that was all right. Okay, right. I've got a little bit of a bit sticking over there. I'm just going to trim that quickly. So I'm going to do that just so that I don't have anything sticking over. Oops. There we go. So I think we're already there. So we've got our opening there. That's the back and that's the front. And that's the front and that's the back. So there we go. That will fit really nicely to do with what we want to do. All right, so if you want to stitch around there, I would do that as soon as I've laid up the fronts. So let's do that first quickly. So for the first one, I'm going to put a little bit of a arrangement on here. I thought, now you can do whatever you want. I've got some fussy cuts. I've got some of these as well. I don't have a lot of these cut at the moment. Just take out that little bit there. But you can use fussy cuts. I mean, as you know from this one here, I just used fussy cuts. So that works just as well. There's nothing wrong with that. So I'm going to do a combination for this one. So I thought, let's see, I might just have that peeking out of there and that sort of a thing. Thought that looks quite nice, so I'm going to stick that down. And I want a little bit of a label as well. So I've cut out one of Tracy Fox's labels. These come from, let me see if I can, from a sheet that looks like this. And these are from Tracy Fox's Love Junk Journal site. So these are great. I love those as well, as most people do. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to ink the edge just to take away any of the whiteness. And I think, I'm not quite sure where I'm putting it yet, but we'll find the spot. And I have a butterfly as well that I want to use. That's got some really subtle shades to it. I think I got this one from Pinterest somewhere. I do have a collection of them. Right, so I quite like the subtle tones of that, I think. Do I want a different one? I might go with the other. We'll see. But we are going for muted tones again. This has also come from Pinterest, I think. Yeah, I might use that one. Okay, so that's what I'm going to put together on there, just like that. I quite like that. Yeah, that's looking good. And then, of course, it's just the butterfly that we want somewhere. So I might put that there. I might move that down. Joys. Right, I think that's what I'll do. Right, let's do that. Stick it down before I change my mind. Right, so I'll start with this. Let's just think again how I was doing it. So I'm going to have that, I think, slightly higher and that over. Yeah, okay, so that one we want over there. Good idea to have these in your head before you start sticking them down with glue. Otherwise, that doesn't always work out too well, as I have learnt before. Oh, I had my daughter's birthday this week, so been eating cake, as you do. And my dog My dog's had her been spayed, but she's on the mend. So that was about 4 days ago, bless her. So she's looking much better. Had to buy a very expensive little tight bodysuit for her, little soul. Because when they brought her to me, she had one of these inverted lampshades on her head, and it just, she's only little dog, and she's got a lot of fur, so we just had all ears and head, and it was too big for her, and poor Abby, that's my dog's name, she looks so miserable as it was. I just couldn't bring it upon myself to let her have to wear that, because they told me at the vet she'd have to wear it for 2 weeks, and it was way too big, and looked most uncomfortable. I had to fork out another 17 quid for that, which was a lot, but anyway, what can you do? I wasn't going to let the dog suffer like that for 2 weeks. She wouldn't even been able to sleep properly, so I just thought that was awful. Anyway, enough of the dog problems. She's been sleeping around my feet most of the week, so I think I am going to squeeze that in over there. I think that's the right spot for it. Yeah, so the dog's had a lot of pampering this week. Shame. Bless her. Right, so we're going to stick that on. Just going to tuck that underneath there, like that. Oh, and I've got to go back to work on Monday, so I've had a nice few days off. I didn't have the whole week off. I did have to go in for work. But, gosh, I would love to be staying at home half the week. I definitely would. Okay, we're going to do that. Right, and then I think I'll come and put little details on the butterfly after I've stuck everything down. So that's that side. Right, so let's just swap over for a minute and we'll do this side. I think what I'm going to do here is the following. I've got some more fussy cuts here. Some more, so I've got a nice aqua blue, some other blue, and some green. These are Tim Holtz die cuts, and that's just a fussy cut flower, and I thought I would arrange them somehow. Oops, that's the wrong way. Over here, I don't quite know yet how, but we'll get to it. So I've got a bit of green sticking out there. Oh, that's not looking, maybe that's a bit high. That's looking all right, and I'll just get that under there. I think that looks quite nice. And then again, I've got another Tracy Fox label. This one is, Tracy's got quite a few of these, and they don't all have names on them. This one does. I'm going to use the sapling one because it's got a bit of a petrol blue, teal blue color, so I'm going to use that. This comes from the Nature Definition label, so that's what I'm using here. Alright, so that I thought we could tuck in over there. That looks nice. Okay, so that I'll put in at the end. We're going to start with this one. Let's close this up. Back with glue. And we'll put this on here. Oh, these are difficult to glue. You've got to get every little piece in, which is annoying, I will say. So let's just get that up there, like that, and then we'll take the green one. Everything's sticking to my fingers now. This little one, which I've cut from Artie May's paper. Ooh, to the end. So there we go, and this one we were going to put a little higher, so let's do that. And then this needs to get a bit of an inking. We'll put that down. It says sapling. I'll put that over here. Just make sure it's straight. There we go. And then this nice fussy cut flower. Make sure you glue all the bits down. There we go. That's it. And then we'll just position that over that a little bit, up a bit, and I think that looks good. Right, let's press it all down, check that all the bits have been glued. Here's a little bit of a, right, so there we go, that's looking pretty. And then I do have a butterfly we might want to use. I might just put that there. I think that just makes a nice arc of color. So again, get some ink on this. I do this on the butterflies because any little bit of white that's sticking out disappears. It's like magic. Look at that. Yeah, so it looks like you've done a beautiful cutout job. Right. So if I put that there, I think that's perfect. Just brings that pop of colour in. So we'll do that. Okay. There we go. Just like that. All right, so we've got 2 so far. All right, so we'll put that one there to dry for a minute. I'm going to now turn this over and decorate this side. So I'm getting a bit bolder now. Just need to get my little pokey tool. Sorry. I'm going to use a bit of a brighter colour for this one. Just taking, again, Tim Holtz die cut, so it's a bit of a different kind of a colour, but I quite like it. Goes nicely with this, it just sort of works so nicely with these aquas and blues. And then I've got another one here, so let's see, I've got this one that I'm going to put down over here. This one is going to go on the top, and then this one, let's see, if I do that like that, or maybe we should do that rather. And then this one can go like this. Yeah? No? Shout louder. Okay, so if I tuck that one underneath there, I think that looks really pretty. Just a bit of a pop with that. And then we'll need to put a bit of a label. It sort of just finishes it off. We put that down there. And then I've got a bigger butterfly, but I might put that, I'm not sure if I will use that or what. We'll have to see. I might end up putting that over there actually, and that over there. Yeah, maybe. So let's get these all down then. So that one's the one on the top. So I will need to put this one down first. What is it with all the pets I see for people who have pets on YouTube? The minute you start filming, they want your attention. The rest of the day, she doesn't really want my attention. It's just for that moment that she does. Oh, sorry. I see I'm not alone with that. I see that happen all over. Wendy has that on Wendy's General Adventures with Leo. And I see Jackie's dog. Jackie, your dog's well behaved. My dog wants my attention as well. So, yeah, they are sweet, aren't they? I love animals more than people. Did I say that? No, I think we can learn a lot from animals, really, honestly do, as a human race. Right, so back to the people and the crafting. Right, so we will stick that in. Well, I was going to do it at the top, wasn't I? Do I want to do that over there, though? I'm not sure. And this bit over here, maybe. Do I want... Yeah, I like it over there. Okay, it's staying at the bottom. So let's put some of this back on. Like that. We stick that at the bottom again, as I had it. Yeah. And then we'll go around with the inking just a bit. I think this one came from Calico Collage. I think I do collect a lot of butterflies, don't I? Right, so that's there, and then I just want to, this one's not quite stuck down, so we'll just put more glue on. Make sure it's all sticking down. Okay, so there we go. You can see that one then. And then there's that one. And we still got to do that one. And we've done that one as well. Gosh, my neck is aching today. Right, so let that one dry. So the last bit I'm going to do a little bit differently. I thought I would put a little bit of text at the top there, just to add something a little bit different. So just putting a little bit of text in there. This came from Dragonfly Delights, so it's about butterflies and dragonflies and things. So I'm just going to stick that down at the top here. I'm not worried about that because when I make the sort of hinge from fabric, we're not going to see that top bit. So that's that. And then I am going to put a piece of paper over there. So like that. I could cover the flower a bit, but don't want to cover that too much. I've got a narrower bit of a flower. Let me just see if that's the right flower that I want. Yeah. I think that's the one I'm going to use for this. Like that. And then I've got a bit of a butterfly and a little oval label again from Tracy's kit. So if I stick that at the top there, and then I stick that, how do I want this then? There. Then we've got a little bit of a writing place. So let's do that then. I'm just going to give this a light inking. Quickly, just for the edges to get rid of the white. Like that. Yep. And then we'll put this over there like that. So let's stick that down quickly. There we go. Right. So that just goes over there. It's a shame because those flowers are pretty, but anyway, that's how it is. This might just take a little bit off the base here. So I'm just going to make this a bit shorter, and I'll tell you why, because I'm going to have a fabric hinge there, and it'll chop the top of the, and I'm also going to take that leaf off, I think. So we'll just go like that. It looked like it was never there. There we go. That'll be better. So let's stick that down. Oops. So we put that down like that. Just take that off the bottom. Okay, so that's all nicely stuck down, and then we will just take the inker and go around this lovely oval label. Like this. So I'm going to stick that over there like that, and then yeah, I don't like putting butterflies just loose. I like them attached to something. So again, I'm just going to really quickly just go around the edges like that and stick this down. Okay, so let's just put it over there. Okay, so there we go. We've got all of those decorated. So that's something. Right, so all four sides now are decorated. That's how that one looks, if you wanted a closer look. All right, so this is going to be the front. No, not that one. This is going to be the front of one. And this is going to be the front. So we're going to, obviously when this turns around, you'll have different sides. But what we need to do now is, this is the point where you would want to stitch. Now, if you're going to stitch, you're going to stitch across there, up there, and across there. All right, don't forget to make a double stitch there and a double stitch there. You can't stitch down here because this is where your pocket's going to go. All right, so and the same here, across there, down and there, keeping that side open. All right, so I will meet you back here in a sec and I will do the stitching. All right, so I'm back. So I'm just cutting off these threads. All right, so there we go. We've got our opening there. We've stitched around there. And I've stitched around there as well, put a bit of a zigzag. Now, you're not going to see this top bit because it's going to be covered. So what we need to do now is we need to join these up. So the way we need to join those up are with the same open sides like that together. So we're going to lay them like this and join them up at the top there. So what we do is we're going to do that with a little bit of a gap, and we're going to get some fabric to marry those up. So let's just find some fabric here quickly. Now I want something that's going to be quite neutral. So I think I'll have a look over here. I might use some of this, which I have, fabric ribbon. I think that will work quite well. And all I'm going to do is I want to, now the width that it needs to be, if you look there, it's with your gap in the middle, it doesn't need to be more than, let's just measure this here, an inch or 2.5 centimeters really. So you need to just make 2 strips. So we're going to lie it like that, and then we are going to cut it this side. Make it a little bit longer, just a little bit longer than the width of this here. And then let's just check. It's just ever so much a little bit longer. And then you want 2 pieces, 1 for each side. So do that. And let's just cut that like that. So there we go. We'll put that back over there. And then what we want to do is we want to move these aside like that. Okay. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put a bit of fabric glue on here. And again, you don't have to stitch this if you don't want to. Just use a really good glue. Okay, you want a bit of that, not overly too much. This is quite a nice, well, it's vintage cotton, really, so it's quite sturdy. You could even use a good muslin, that would work as well. So what we want to do here is we want to place our first one, our first pocket, pretty much almost halfway, just bearing in mind that you need a little gap in the middle, and press that down. And then you want to take the other one. Remember, both the open bits are facing the same way, and then you're going to put the other one next to that, but press it down. What you need to remember is that you have a little bit of a gap there. Now the gap, if I can measure the gap is probably 2 mil, so 1/8 of an inch really. Okay, so just press those down, and then what you're going to do is you're going to put some glue, just run the glue, a thin bead of glue on the top of each one of these, and then you're going to stick the other one down. Match it up with the one at the bottom on both sides. All right, and then just press that down nicely. Okay, give that a little second to dry. All right, so I'm going to give that a little second to dry, and then I'll be back to show you what we do from there. Okay, so let's see, that's now set nicely in the middle there. So you can see we've got flexibility in the middle because we've left a little bit of a gap. So what I want to do quickly is just stitch across there, up there, across there, and down, just to keep that in place. As I said, I've used like a 3-in-1 or a Fabri-Tac type fabric glue. You don't have to stitch, but I am going to stitch there. So let me do that quickly. Okay, so here I am back again, just cutting off these little threads. As you can see, I've just stitched around the perimeter there, and now all I'm going to do is just take my scissors and level off these little bits on the side here, just so that they are the same length and the same on the other side. So this isn't my fabric scissors either. All right, so there we go. So now what we have now is we've got our little booklet. Yeah, so you've got your pink side over there, and when you lift that up nicely, you've got your blue side over there like that. Yeah, and then that can turn again around and around and around however you want it. So all that we need to do now, just to line this up properly, and take your bone folder just to make sure that everything's lying nice and straight. That's better. And we need to just put in our little tag things in there. So that's all we need to do now. So let's do that. Now the important thing to remember is we need to measure the inside of these pockets now that we've stitched and everything all glued. So we know now by pushing the ruler up there, we've got we want to not exceed 14.5 centimeters. Now this will be different according to whatever envelope and size you're using, so I would say comfortably 14 and 1/4 centimeters really would be fine with me. Let's just check both. Yeah, 14.5 is definitely the way to go. Easily should fit in there, and the width of that I would say is about 7.5 centimeters, so 3 inches that way. And oh, what is that? That's 4, 5, 5.5 almost, but measure yours just to make sure. Now what I've done is I am going to use again a Tracy Fox printable. This is Love Junk Journals. You can see there the notebook A Botanist. I like these tags. This is going to take out a lot of work for me. I think they are perfect as they are, with a border and a little label and everything else. Obviously you can put other things on if you want. And I thought these were a good idea because they're pretty much the size of the opening that I have made. So I've cut 3 out here, and there's not much trimming that's going to need to be done for this to fit in here. So I think that they are just ever so slightly longer. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to trim off a few levels so that it just brings it in line, probably off that bit there, and see where we are. So I thought I would take these 2. Oh, that's also so pretty. 2 of these. I'll go with these 2. And I'll put that one aside for another one. And then I'm just going to take some recycled board. So I think I'll be using some of this packaging because it's cardstock, and hopefully this is long enough. It is, so I could get one out of there, so we'll do that. So we'll stick that onto there. So I'm going to stick it on first, and then I'm going to trim it to size. So that's what I'm going to do. Again, this also, the glue choice depends on whether you're going to stitch around this or not. I am, but if you're not, then you don't have to. Always remember that, you don't have to. It's just my choice. Right, so let's trim this off, and then we can see where we are. So I'll use that for something else. Right, now as far as the width is concerned, we are spot on, so we don't need to take anything off the width. But as far as the top is concerned, we said about 14.5 centimeters, so we do want to make sure that we have that. So it looks like I need to take off up to here. Right, I think that's about right now. Before I do anything further, I'm going to see if that is going to fit. So I want it to fit comfortably, so I think I will take a little bit more off the base. So I'll just even it up and take a little bit more off the base there, like that. Oh, that wasn't very straight. Okay, that's better. Oh, still not so great. What's wrong today? This is out too far. Right, let's just make that straight. That's better. Right, so this should fit a little better into here now. Let's just check. Yeah, that's a lot more comfortable. Okay, I like that. So what I need to do then, I'm just going to cut off these bits here a bit further down. No, over there. So cut off the board. It doesn't matter that it's not a rectangle, it's fine. It looks perfect as it is. Isn't that pretty? Right, so now that'll fit in there with no problem at all. Now remember I said to you earlier to hang on to these little bits that you cut off from your envelope. Those are the excess bits of the envelope. I thought these would be perfect to use as little tabs. So I'm going to use my tab cutter because I don't have a whale one, so it'll be this one. And then what we want to do is we want to make some tabs out of this. So it's a bit long, so I just need to make it a bit narrower to fit in my tab cutter. Again, you don't have to use a tab cutter, I will show you in a sec how to do that, just to remind you, without a tab cutter. So for this purpose, I just need to make sure I do it like that. So there's one, and here is another one. Oh, come on. Got the shakes. I need a cake. Right, so that's what we do if you want to use the tab cutter. If you don't have a tab cutter and you want to do this without one, all you need to do is decide on the length of the tab that you want. So take a piece of paper again. Let's say we want it that wide. Make sure you've got the bent bit at the fold line, let's say, at the top there. Make it the width that you want. So say I want it that wide, and then you can just round off these corners. So if I just grab my I'm grappling in the drawer. If I just take my paper edge rounder, you can just put that in there. It's a bit thick. Or you can do this, you know, freehand it. You could do that as well. So there you go. You've got a perfectly fine tab just by doing that. So there's another way you can do that. You don't have to have all these things. Right, so what we want to do now is I'm going to take this. I am going to just put some glue in the middle, well, both sides. I am going to then, again, if you're not sewing, then make sure it's a decent glue. I'm going to put this one at the top like that. So I've got the lines to guide me. Now remember, we want the other one to come below like that. So if we fit that in like that, there's our first one. Just squash that in properly. Like that. And now we want the other one to come below that. So let's grab another piece of board. And we will stick that down on there. Yeah, and then I just chopped off these bits here. So there we go, that's the second one. So if I want that one to, oh, it's a little bit longer. How's that possible? A little bit more off the top, I think. Okay, so that looks about right. That's perfect. So now what we need to do is we need to just be mindful of the other tab that needs to come below that. So let's take this out. And then glue that there, and now let's just go like this. Don't seal it off. And then just put it either side here, and that's sort of where we want it. So line it up nicely over there. Remember, if you're not going to sew, then you want to use a nice strong glue. So there, that's going to be perfect when we put those in our pockets. So that's about, I'm going to quickly sew around these, right round, and I'll be back with you in a second. So bear with me. Okay, so yeah, I'm back again. So just trimming off these threads quickly for these tags. Oops. So there we have the one, and there we go. There we have another. So there's the 2 tags. Now you can stick words on there if you like, that is up to you. I usually just use these words that I've cut out or and stamped using scraps of paper and my stamp kit, which is just individual letters. So you can stick those on there if you like, that's up to you. So I'll leave that aside, and all that remains to do is to put these in here. So I'm going to put this one in there like that, and this one in there, like that. There we go. So there we have it. We've got our little goodie that can fit nicely on a page, and I'm trying to find a page that I have that can indicate that, show that to you. So even if it's an Edith Holden page, it just means that we would rest it over the top like that, and it'll stay nicely like that. And of course you can change your design and have it this way as well, so it's all up to you. Every side has a nice view. So that's what we've done there today. So I hope that you've liked that. There we have the back one and that back one, and then of course this one and that one. So I hope you've enjoyed doing that with me today. Leave some comments below and let me know what you think, and give it a go. I'd love to see what you guys create using these. And don't forget to go and check out Wendy's adventures. I'll leave the link in the description box below. She creates the most beautiful ephemera and has the most wonderful ideas for journals. So I do recommend that you go and have a look and see what she's creating. Thank you everybody so much for spending this time with me today for this tutorial. I know it's a bit of a long one. I look forward to seeing you all very soon. Goodbye.